Hi everybody. So this is a video speaking about the energies that we're now in as we approach the new moon in Virgo. So that's happening UK time on August the 23rd at 6 minutes past 7 in the morning. And we have the sun moving into Virgo the evening before 9:35 p.m. So Virgo is devotional energy, it's practical energy. It asks us, how am I showing up in service? Whether that's in service to others or in service to self, it highlights our working life. And this one is the start of the eclipse season. This lunation, this new moon, is the beginning of the lunar month where 2 weeks after the full new moon, we will have the full moon in Pisces, the opposite sign, the sign of the mystic. And so eclipses usher in huge change. And we've been going through big, big changes all year with the outer, slow-moving generational planets moving into new signs. And in the first few degrees of those new signs, it's time for a massive new beginning. That theme is continuing now that we're out the other side of the Lion's Gate, which closed on the 12th of August, the transit of the spiritual sun Sirius, which called us to step up, to move more into our power, hence the turban on my head, folks. My goodness. I just did a version of this and it didn't record. First time that's ever happened. And my intuition was telling me, go get your turban. So basically, they're wanting me to own my tapua, my sacred power, now that I'm menopausal and the Kundalini has really moved up to the crown. So get used to it this time. I'm going to have to as well. Anywho, on with the report. So, this new moon is happening at 0 degrees Virgo. That is, we think about the 0 point. That's bringing us to ground zero in relation to our work. What's working for us? What isn't? It's time to restructure how we work, why we work. For me, that's, really not wanting to be online. Yes, I will do videos, but, I'm really wanting to show up and do talks and retreats in person. I was at a wonderful festival for 3 days called Soul Revolution, and it felt like the most authentic tribe gathering that I've experienced here in the UK ever since Confest, which is the tribe gathering that initiated me when I was 24 in Australia. So very, very heart expanding to have that experience of living in the one heart, one family, one community on the land, harmoniously, clear, without substances. And what was central was the sacred. And that is the essence of the new earth. So I came out of that just so resistant to wanting to be on tech. Now that's on point with this new moon, folks, because it is squaring Uranus at 1 degree in Gemini. Now, Gemini is the youngest of the air signs. Uranus is the great awakening, a great awakener, the planet of Kundalini, of consciousness, of life force. So it's moving, or rather, it's in 1 degrees in the first of the three mental signs that rule, how we think, how we perceive, what the narrative is. So it is blasting out the old narrative. And I just saw before I jumped on here that JFK's come out and absolutely confirmed that the injectables that were introduced back in 2020 are carcinogenic, as well as the fact that, the chemtrails, all of it is hard fact. It's not conspiracy. So already we're seeing the narrative changing from one that was when Gemini was the North Node during that time, one of deception and illusion. Now the truth is really coming into the forefront of the mainstream, media. So we have the sun and moon in a very harmonious and helpful angle, a sextile. So that's a 60-degree angle to Sat Saturn and Neptune, which are conjunct. And Saturn and Neptune are in a sextile with Uranus. What does that mean? Well, it's a window for the raising of the collective consciousness, for huge transformation, transmuting the shadow, that which kept us disempowered, into greater understanding through aha moments, insights. And it is very transformative this new year. We have a yod, okay? This is the Hebrew finger of God, like when you see the light coming down through the clouds. And that's what this, you know, quincux or sextile configuration is doing. It is ushering in a whole new way of working, a new relationship in how we work. I know a lot of people are scared about their jobs disappearing with AI. This is about us being freed from work that feels enslaving. Okay, so this is time not to be worshipping the digital realm as the savior, but rather seeing it as the great deceiver. Yeah, it is artificial intelligence. It is not true intelligence. The true intelligence is to align with the quantum field of infinite benevolence, that which is in all of nature. Last night I was reading Veda. Oh gosh, I keep blanking on her surname. The woman who has been doing so much research into the memory of water, how telepathic water is because of the amount of hydrogen in it. It's profound. I was just told before I filmed this that what is growing around you is what your body needs. So the intelligence of nature is beyond anything we could create with our rational 10% of our brains. And after all, it only replicates. That is not true intelligence. It cannot create. Only when we are aligned with the creative elements of nature, with the creative inspiration of source energy, can we be true creators, when we are aligned with the creative life force. So it's time to unshackle the mind, not just from technology, but from old perceptions of self and reality, thinking this isn't how my life should look. This is time to release the burdens of trying to be good or right or perfect. It's time to revolutionize our routines, the habits that bind us. So, ask yourself, is this serving me? Or is this detracting from who I truly am and what I've come here to do? This is also a time to really question our existing beliefs about health, to come back to true health, which is nature, that which is not processed, that which is not, artificially produced by petrochemicals, but that which is in its whole most complex state. So, big changes upon us. We have Saturn and Aries asking us to take responsibility, to be the rainbow warriors, seize the day, embrace it boldly. And Virgo asks us to exercise discernment in all matters, in all things, in all choices. This is the sign that asks us to really scrutinize, why am I doing that? Why am I saying that? And asking, is this self-honoring? And, the reason that this is the most sacred of all the signs is that it's the one that makes a vow to show up not just to ourselves, but to the divine aspect in ourselves, and therefore to the divine aspect in everyone. This is about self-honoring commitments, i.e., starting your day with a practice. The festival I was at, the organizer was very humble, very calm, and he, meditates every day. And he also said that, he had a team, and their sole purpose for the festival was to pray for everybody there, to ensure that they got what they needed from the experience, including the elementals, including the animals that were sharing the land, such as the horses that were doing equine therapy at dawn every morning, the trees. There were incredible tree spirits on the land. So this is what it is to live in sacred union, not just wanting the one person to come and save us, but living in the new earth consciousness, living in a state of communion and grace with all that is, knowing that we are all helping to walk each other home, including those that don't have two legs. So Virgo asks us to purify ourselves. So detoxing not just the body, but the mind, the heart, the spirit. So freeing ourselves from dependencies that enslave us, whether that is Netflix, whether that's shopping, whether that's sugar, whether that's alcohol. You know what your demons are. It's time to drop the sandbags. Virgo is also a doer, a list maker. So this is when we're most likely to feel a sense of, you know, self-gratification if we're able to complete things that we started and, celebrate, take pride in our accomplishments, even if they're small. It's also a time when those of us who have bitten off more than we could comfortably chew go, well, let's review how we do this differently moving forwards. So if you have been showing up in not just service, but perhaps being a servant, it's time to reclaim what it is you need for yourself so that it can be more graceful, more sustainable. And of course, the more we do that, the more it makes room for mystery to step in and meet our needs serendipitously with grace. So for those that have been of service, this is likely to be a harvest time, a time of recognition, a time of more exposure, more honoring, more recognition, more remuneration for the service that you've done. I've also been guided to speak to the fact that, we have Jupiter in Cancer for a year. This is about us now with this transit of the sun in Virgo, looking at how we need to organize logistics so that we can be available to more support from our communities, from the one family, the tribe, knowing that the time of the lone wolf is over, not trying to do as much on our own, but allowing the space, the spaciousness for others to step in and to help us. And I was meditating this morning, and I'm being hosted by different households, and sometimes they have very young children. I'm currently in a household with a 2-week-old baby and a 2-year-old. I stayed with another young family in Totnes. I'm also staying with an elder, and speaking to different people, single mums, what it is they're navigating so I can get more of a pulse, like a fly on the wall, being part of these different households, what the collective is dealing with. So I can speak to that publicly, compassionately, knowing that we're not alone, we're all in this together. Venus, we have Leo, highlighted with Venus moving into Leo on August the 25th. And this is an invitation to celebrate. Celebrate whatever grace you have, whatever you have. When we look at the water, we see the six-pointed star show up when we're in gratitude. So that is literally what opens the heart, and that magnifies things to come to us with grace that are for us. So play, celebrate, share the authentic you. That is your greatest gift to the world, whether that's privately, unmasking for the people that are around you and the people that you love, or showing up in the world boldly with your heart. I know I'm being asked not just to wear a bloody turban, thanks very much, to honor my sacred power these days as a crone, well, as a postmenopausal mage anyway, but to drop the PowerPoints, the keynotes, the slides that have been my sort of my calipers, my L plates for my events so that I can just show up and speak in the now from the heart, trusting that spirit will speak through me. So I hope that rings true for you. We're being told to wing it, to be spontaneous, to step into the void, into that moment, the eternal now, knowing that is the moment of power, true power, to risk everything, to be surrendered like the fool that is the sage. So thanks for listening. You have my blessing to share this on your socials if it resonates. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And I'm going to be introducing like a donate button, because for me to be able to do videos regularly, it's a lot, and I need to get some remuneration for that. So yeah, I'm going to bring in a donate button. So I invite you to, if this is helpful for you, then to yeah, chuck us a bone. All right, thanks so much for watching. Ciao for now. If you want to know all the live events that I'm doing, I'm going to be doing a women's circle. It's booked out tonight here at the Barn in Hockley, Essex. But I will be doing a men's circle. There's still places for that on Sunday night. And I'm doing talks here on Saturday. They're by donation. I'll also be doing a book signing afterwards. Then I'll be speaking at Changing Times on August the 19th in Sussex. And then I'll be speaking it Into the Wild, both on demystifying moon pause on the Saturday. It's around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And on the Sunday, late in the afternoon, on Awakening the Sacred Masculine, the Green Man, Cernunnos, who, bless him, enticed me to do a fire walk, which is another story I won't get into right now. But suffice to say, we're all being challenged to confront our fears so we can really step into our power. So if you want to know my calendar, my schedule of live events, the only way to get that is to join my list. And you can do that via a pop-up at themoonwoman.com. So thanks. Ciao.